If you're drawn to low lights, slow music, and the kind of desire that builds in glances instead of touch, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is the story of the night I started working underground, and the man who never needed the spotlight to command my attention. The jazz bar doesn't have a sign. That should have been my first warning. I find it by following sound. Muted trumpet notes leaking through brick, bass humming beneath the sidewalk like a pulse. The entrance is a narrow door between a closed tailor shop and a boarded-up florist, painted black and unmarked. No hours. No name. Just a brass handle worn smooth by hands that know where they're going. Inside, the stairs descend steeply. The air changes with every step. Cooler, darker, heavier with smoke and something bittersweet I can't place. By the time I reach the bottom, the city feels very far away. The bar opens up slowly, like it doesn't want to reveal itself all at once. Low ceilings, velvet booths, candlelight flickering against exposed brick. A small stage tucked into the corner, where a trio plays like they're telling secrets instead of music. The crowd is sparse, late-night regulars, all of them dressed like they don't need to be noticed to matter. I clutch my back tighter. A woman behind the bar catches my eye and nods. "You're the new hire?" "Yes," I say. "For the late shift." She looks me over once, quick and efficient. "Owner's in tonight." That's all she says. She hands me an apron, points me toward the back hall, and goes back to polishing glasses like she's done this 1,000 times. I don't ask who the owner is. I assume I'll know when I see him. I don't notice him at first. That's the unsettling part. I change, tie my hair back, step onto the floor, and start doing what I was hired to do. Wipe tables, collect glasses, learn the quiet choreography of moving through a room that feels intimate by design. It's only when I straighten from clearing a booth that I feel it. Attention. Not the casual kind. Not someone glancing and moving on. This feels deliberate. I scan the room without making it obvious. That's when I see him. He's standing near the far wall, half in shadow, a drink untouched in his hand. White. Tall. Broad-shouldered in a way that reads controlled rather than showy. Dark hair neatly kept. His suit is simple black, tailored, unassuming, and somehow that makes him more dangerous than the men trying to be impressive. He's not watching the band. He's watching me. When our eyes meet, he doesn't look away. Doesn't smile. Doesn't pretend he wasn't. He just inclines his head slightly, like acknowledgement instead of greeting. Something tightens low in my stomach. The rest of the night settles into rhythm. Music rises and falls. Drinks are poured. Laughter hums under the instruments. And always, I'm aware of him. He never moves closer. Never signals. But every time I pass that side of the room, I feel his attention like a weight between my shoulder blades. At one point, I glance back deliberately. He's still there. Still watching. Still untouched by the chaos around him. When the set ends and applause ripples through the room, he finally moves, slipping through a side door behind the bar. I release a breath I didn't realize I was holding. He waits until closing. The crowd thins. Chairs are stacked. The band packs up, leaving echoes behind. The woman who trained me clocks out with a wave and a knowing look. "Good first night," she says. "Thanks," I reply, distracted. The lights dim further, shifting from ambience to after-hours quiet. I'm wiping down the bar when I sense someone behind me. "You move well in here." His voice is low, even, controlled. I turn. Up close, he's more striking. Not because he's conventionally handsome, but because he looks like a man who never wastes motion. His eyes are dark, observant, sharp without being unkind. "Thank you," I say. "I'm still learning." "You learn quickly," he replies. Pause stretches between us. "I'm Marcus," he says finally. "I own the place." "Of course you do." I know who you are," he interrupts gently. "I read your application." My pulse jumps. "You did." "I don't let people work in my space without knowing them," he says. "Especially at night." There's no accusation in his tone, just fact. "And?" I ask. "And you're observant," he replies. "Quiet. Careful. Those are good traits down here." "Down here," I repeat. He smiles faintly. The bar tends to show people parts of themselves they keep hidden upstairs. The way he says it makes my skin prickle. He doesn't touch me. Not once. Not when he steps closer to check a bottle behind the counter. Not when he reaches past me for a glass. Not even when the space narrows and it would be easy to brush my arm. Instead, he stays just out of reach. That restraint is intentional. Most owners don't stay this late, I say, needing to ground myself. Most owners don't trust anyone else to close, he replies. And I like seeing how new people settle when they think no one's watching. My brows lift. I thought you were watching. I was, he agrees. But now I'm here. The difference matters. He walks me through closing procedures slowly, explaining things I mostly already figured out, where the extra keys are kept, how to reset the sound system, which lights stay on and which don't. You don't rush, I observe. I don't need to, he replies. Nothing down here happens quickly. When we finish, the bar is quiet. Empty. Candle smoke lingering in the air like memory. You can go, he says. I hesitate. Tomorrow. I'll be here, he answers. I usually am. I nod, grab my bag, and head for the stairs. At the door, I pause. You always watch from the shadows? He meets my gaze. Only until someone notices. My breath stutters. The nights blur together after that. I learn the bar's moods. Which songs pull the room inward? Which drinks loosen tongues? Which corners feel safest to sit in when the world upstairs feels too loud? And Marcus is always there. Sometimes behind the bar. Sometimes near the stage. Sometimes in the back, watching through the glass of his office like he's observing a current instead of people. He never interferes. Never instructs unnecessarily. But when he speaks, people listen. Including me. You stay later now, he notes one night. I like the quiet after, I reply. So do I. Our eyes hold for a beat too long. The first boundary almost breaks on a slow Thursday. The band cancels last minute. The bar is nearly empty. Rain pounds against the street-level windows, distant and relentless. I'm closing alone when the lights flicker. I freeze. Marcus appears immediately, hand braced against the doorframe. Not touching me, but close enough that I feel protected anyway. Backup generator, he says calmly. It'll stabilize. It does. But he doesn't move away right away. You don't like sudden changes, he says softly. I swallow. Neither do you. A corner of his mouth lifts. You're paying attention. I have to, I reply. You notice everything. His gaze darkens slightly. Not everything. What don't you notice? Things people hide from themselves, he says. Those reveal themselves when they're ready. The air feels charged. I should finish, I say. Yes, he agrees. You should. But he doesn't leave. The tension builds without touch. And looks held too long. In words chosen carefully. In the way he positions himself near me when the bar fills with strangers. You don't flirt, I tell him one night. The admission lands heavy. You've decided that already? I ask. I decided not to rush, he replies. There's a difference. The night it changes is unremarkable. No storm. No power outage. Just us. The bar is closed. Chairs stacked. Music low, playing from the speakers instead of live. You could ask me to stop watching, he says suddenly. I look up from wiping the counter. Would you? Yes, he answers immediately. And if I didn't? Then I'd keep doing exactly this, he says. Nothing more. Nothing less. I set the cloth down. Marcus, I say quietly. He waits. Touch me. He doesn't move. Not because he doesn't want to. Because he's giving me space to change my mind. You're sure, he asks. Yes. Only then does he step closer. His hand rests at my waist. Firm, grounding, intentional. Not claiming. The contact sends heat through me. This isn't casual, he murmurs. Good, I whisper. Neither am I. He leans in, forehead resting against mine, breath warm and steady. The bar holds its breath with us. After that, nothing rushes. We don't pretend it didn't happen. But we don't exploit it either. He still watches. I still work. But now, when our eyes meet, there's understanding instead of tension. You changed the way you move, he says one night. So did you, I reply. Yes, he agrees. I wanted you to see me. I stay. Not because I'm trapped. Because I choose to. The underground bar still has no sign. still hides in shadow. But when I descend those stairs now, I'm no longer being watched from the dark. He stands beside me instead. And the music feels different when you know who's listening. The bar changes after that. Not in obvious ways. The walls are still brick. The music still slips through the air like smoke. The lights remain low enough that faces soften and secrets feel easier to keep. But something underneath shifts. Marcus no longer stays in the far corners once the doors open. He positions himself closer to the bar now, sometimes leaning against it, sometimes sitting in one of the booths where he can see both the stage and me at the same time. He doesn't hover. He simply exists in my orbit. And I'm aware of him constantly. Not in the way you watch someone out of fear, but in the way your body tracks heat without conscious effort. When I move, I feel his eyes follow. When he looks away, I notice the absence like a dropped note in the music. You're different tonight, I tell him during a lull, wiping down the counter slowly. So are you, he replies. Am I? You're not pretending anymore. The words land softly but precisely. I didn't realize I was pretending, I admit. You were, he says. You just weren't aware of it. I tilt my head. And now, he murmurs, you're choosing. That word again. Choosing. It lingers between us like a promise neither of us is rushing to claim. The intimacy grows in ordinary moments. In the way he hands me a glass and lets his fingers linger for half a second longer than necessary, just enough to be felt, not enough to be careless. In the way he stands behind me when the bar gets crowded, not touching, but close enough that his presence feels like a barrier between me and the rest of the world. One night, a man leans too far over the bar, voice slurred, eyes roaming. Marcus doesn't raise his voice. He simply steps forward. That's enough, he says quietly. The man straightens immediately, mutters an apology, and leaves. Afterward, I exhale slowly. You didn't have to do that, I say. I know, Marcus replies. I wanted to. There's no claim in it. Just intention. The first time he invites me into his office, it's after closing. The room smells faintly of leather and old paper. Records line the walls, vinyl sleeves worn soft at the edges. The lights are dimmer here, more controlled. This is where I listen, he says. To what? To what the room becomes after people leave. I run my fingers along the spines, feeling the weight of history and habit. You built this place to be watched, I say. He nods. And to watch back. And now, his gaze meets mine, steady and unguarded. Now it's different. How? Now I'm not hiding, he answers. And neither are you. The air thickens. I step closer. Not into him. Just close enough that the choice is unmistakable. I don't want to be something you observe from a distance anymore, I say. His jaw tightens, not with restraint this time but with resolve. Then don't be, he replies. He reaches for me slowly, giving me time to step away. I don't. His hand settles at the small of my back, grounding, deliberate. The contact sends a quiet thrill through me. Not sharp, not urgent, but deep and steady. This still isn't about taking, he murmurs. I know, I say. It's about staying. Yes. When I leave that night, the city feels different. Less loud. Less sharp. The underground bar hums behind me like a secret I carry willingly now. I realize something as I climb the stairs back to street level. I was never just hired to work there. I was invited. And the man who once watched me from the shadows? He isn't watching anymore. He's waiting. Not for permission, but for whatever we decide to become next.